What's up, guys? My name is Dwork, and I want to talk about a little bit of strategy that allow me to get this beautiful diamond Stockholm 2021 token. And now I'm going to implement a very similar strategy that hopefully will turn this boy into another diamond. So what I did to do this, honestly, like, the strategy is don't swing for the fences, man. Don't go for the goal. Don't just like try to knock it out of the park. Let's think about this a little bit strategically, all right? So what I am seeing a lot of people doing already, 3-0 pick, they're like, who's the best team that's going to go 3-0? Who has the best chance of going 3-0? They're like, ends. Who's the worst team? I've never heard of this guy. Bam, you know? But let's take a minute to talk about this for a second. So I think 0-3, there's a few different options. That's a little bit more straightforward. But this slot, I see a lot of people are risking not only one, but two picks, and I'll explain why. So really quickly, who do we expect to go 3-0? I think the way I like to think about this, at least, is I want to pick a dark horse that fits into this slot. Reason being is because, let's say, let's just talk about complexity for a random example. Complexity, I'm not sure they're going to advance. So I want my bottom row to be the safest row possible because we need to get 5 correct. And there are 9 possibilities on this board. 7 are 7 on the bottom and the 2 at the top. The 2 at the top are very risky. So you don't want to risk putting a team that you know are going to advance like Ents. Spoiler alert, I think Ents are going to advance. But you want to pick a team that's going to be a little bit more of a dark horse. Now, who do I pick for this team? I'm going to go with the boys, dude. I'm going to go with the Resurrection Crew. I don't know what to call them, but let me tell you why. So I have the HLTV page over here. Oh, there's a nice little Bart Simpson. Got some music playing in the background. So look at this roster. It's proven. Pretty much everyone here. Vinny, obviously, he's an addition from Furia, but Vinny also did excellently. These are the boys that won 2 majors together. We're talking FNX falling for bolts. You know, everyone was a little bit skeptical because it's like, you know, they're coming back, you know, trust the process, coming back, like, let's see what they can do. But look at these ratings they're putting up. And granted, it's not against all like tier 1 teams, but still, they've been playing excellently together. They have really good chemistry. You watch them play, they're pugging together. I think that's a really good sign for teams that are successful. They're pugging together, man. They're not just, you know, showing up to matches and practices. It's not all business. It's the boys. I feel like they don't have the pressure that other teams are going to have coming into this major. Plus, they have the experience to boot. I feel like these guys have a really good shot at going on to the next round. So that's why I picked them for my dark horse, my 3-0. I'm not sure they're going to advance, but if they do, they're going to do so in style. That's kind of my bet on this one. Now, when it comes to the 0-3 slot, this is the one that is a little bit more tricky because a lot of people are putting IHC here. But I think IHC could also be a dark horse. So my 0-3 pick is somewhere between Complexity, IHC, and Renegades. And now, while I love the NA boys of Complexity, I really just want to talk about all these rosters and see what we can glean from this. So I think Renegades has a pretty good roster. We have Liaz coming back in the slot. And again, these ratings are inflated because they're not playing tier 1 teams. You know, Sicko is a really experienced player. I believe he's their IGL. They have good pieces. I don't think they have anything that's like glaring where it's like, oh, that could be a really big issue. So let's move on to IHC. All right, looking at this roster, 2 months old, 21 maps played together. This guy only has 10 maps. They're now I guess was subbed out for Techno. I believe Techno has been doing really well for this squad. So we can see, again, playing against a lot of Asian teams, so they're going to have really inflated stats. Less experience, so they're less proven. 2 months together. Hard to be able to really contend against some of these teams in a 2-month span. Alright, now let's look at Complexity. This is interesting, because Complexity has some experience in Grim, has some experience in Junior somewhat. Floppy obviously had some Valorant experience, and then Fang with his extra salt, and JT as well. Like, it's a pretty solid roster, but here's where I run into issues. Junior is their opper. very inconsistent. I think Junior has all the ability. I don't know if it's a confidence issue. I don't know if it's a lack of discipline, like he's just not practicing enough, but he misses some shots that you should not be missing. Grim, he was our Team Liquid boy. You know, he was our prodigy coming up. He was obviously slotted in a lot of really bad roles, but because of that, his confidence just went down. Now, I'm not saying Grim can't frag, but I'm saying Grim is going to be shaky at this major, and that's my prediction. The guys that I believe are going to be consistent, Fang and Floppy, I believe, are solid riflers, and I think they're going to produce. So I believe Grim and Junior are going to show up and be some. They're going to be holes, and then JT, great IGL, also not the best fragger. So I can see 3 potential holes right off the bat, and maybe this just comes down to me knowing Complexity a whole lot better than IHC or Renegades, but for that reason, I'm out. No, I'm kidding. For that reason, I'm putting Complexity at the 0-3. Now, the rest of the teams, I think we can just kind of talk about loosely. So let's talk about the guarantees. Ents, holy crap, they've been playing incredibly well. They're in 4th place right now, ranked overall. You know, you could say that's inflated based off of this, that, or the other. You know, rankings are just everything, but Ents have been playing incredibly well recently. I don't see a world where they don't advance. G2, you know, last major they just about had it, and they lost to Navi 2-0, but still they were semi-finalists or finalists. That's what I mean. G2, they're going back to the major. Force is a maybe, but I'm going to leave them off this roster. They've had some moving pieces, and with the conflict in Russia, there's just like so much uncertainty. Astralis, Barlik has boosted that team, man. You see Blame F and Config, their ratings have gone up by 0.1, which sounds insignificant, but going from like 0.0 or 1.06 to like 1.16, huge. These guys are producing a lot more, and Farlig just looks a lot more confident and capable on the op. He's a little bit spastic, which I think you'd need in an op, or you need someone who's a little bit like, I don't know about you, but like I saw a video where it's like he goes to the console and he just has a thing of like clearing his console all the time. It's just a tick that he has. I love that. I think I think that operas with a little bit of ADHD, that's good news. Vitality, solid roster. They got the Danes in there, they got Dupree, they got Magisk, as well as the core with Apex, Zywoo, and Masuda, right? Masuda's their 5th. Doing fantastic CS. Obviously we were concerned about a language barrier, but it looks like that's all been kind of curbed. All that anxiety has been curbed. Now, Team Liquid, well, they are inconsistent. They've been playing very well. OC, the freaking NA simple, that man has been popping off. We got a Leash who's been able to do very well. He's had to pick up a little bit of a secondary calling role, which is not necessarily his strength, but you got Nitro, so it's just a little bit more of like the boys dynamic is back. Naf has been an incredible lurker, and he can just do anything. He can open up rounds. And then Shocks is obviously also lurking, which is a little bit complicated, but so far it's working. And Shocks, the clutch minister himself, I know Zipex is the clutch minister, but Shocks, his clutch stats are insane. So you have Naf and Shocks, 2 incredible lurkers and playmakers and clutchers on the same team. I think a lot of good things are going to happen. And the best NA rifler and the best NA opper. So we're going to see them move forward, at least to the next round, if not to the one of the finalist positions. Now, what do we do with this last 2 slots? This is where it gets a little bit tricky. I'm going to have to go with Outsiders. Now, there is a lot of issues where Yakindar, for example, their main rifler, there's talks about him dipping in, like after this major. So that could have a little bit of tension, and that's where things get difficult. It's not so clear because obviously this team was Virtus Pro, and now they're Outsiders, playing under their own non-org, basically under their own name, because they can't be under the Virtus Pro name and continue to compete because of the conflict in Russia. So there's the conflict in Russia, but they're fantastic as a team. But Yakindar maybe wanted to leave. I feel like he's really the star of that team, so that's kind of the glue coming apart. That's where it makes it difficult, but I still believe they have the individual talent to bring it over the edge, and they've been showing the clutch capabilities. Now this final slot is really tricky because MIBRs have been playing very well, but not well enough for me to say I think they will advance. Again, 4 is a little bit of a dark horse, but I don't think dark enough. Bad News Eagles have been really high, but I just don't see the capability. I really wanted to put Eternal Fire on there. I had them on there for a while. Xantares looks very comfortable in his role. Immor and all those other pieces are looking fantastic. But I believe there's a bit of a temper issue on this team. Obviously, we have Woxic, who's notorious for having high emotions, and maybe that's a cultural thing. Maybe it's not like a toxic thing. But regardless, emotions are up and down. So if things go wrong, theoretically, that's going to affect their play. So for that reason, I feel like with a lot of high tensions, that has a cause for them to either be a dark horse. Like I almost put them as my 3-0 team. So that either puts them at 3-0 or not qualifying at all. So I just left them off. And then again, IHC, not very proven. 9Z, again, hype, but not proven at all. So my final slot is going to go to Team Spirit, and this is my pick. So Team Spirit has a lot of its core that have gone really far in the past, and they added a couple new players. So you still have Chopper, and I'm spacing his name, the dude with the dope hair who frags like a maniac. Basically, they still have the core, and I believe that their new pieces have been playing well together. They can frag, they can play well together. They're structured, and I believe they have a really good path ahead of them. So these are my picks. And again, 3-0. Please pick a dark horse. Don't pick Ents. Don't pick G2. Pick someone that you think might not qualify, because you want this bottom row to be the safest row that you have. These two are bonuses. So if you get all 9 correct, unfortunately you don't get a special prize. That would be kind of cool. Just try to strive for 5. So Ents, incredibly safe. G2, incredibly safe. Vitality, incredibly safe. And then these others, I would say, are pretty safe. So that's my strategy, and that's how I'm going to continue to do my pickups. So thank you guys so much for watching. Sorry for the long explanation if it was too long. TLDR, skip to the end. So I'll put that in the description. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Take it easy.